How's it going, YouTube? It's Panda time. In this video I want to talk about the Sakuyamon line and looking into BT10, whether we think Sakuyamon is going to be a viable deck or not. You know, initially we had the first Renamon line and it was awful. It was just terrible. The Rena was unplayably bad. Q1 and Tamon were like actual joke, just atrociously bad cards. Now, the original Sakuyamon was a good card, and although it wasn't really played when it came out in BT5, from BT6 onward people found it as a tech card. It's really good against certain strategies such as the hide and race and come out and win the game. So Sakuyamon is a good card, but funny enough, like although it is a good card, it doesn't end up being good for a Sakuyamon deck at all. And I did play one of these in my EX2 Sakuya deck, because his name's Sakuya, but it just doesn't do anything for the deck, right? It's just like, it's a nice tech card, it's good in some matchups, but it doesn't help the strategy at all. Now in EX2 we got the actual Renamon line came out and it was infinitely better. The Renamon is really good, it has some good surge, can pick up the line or a Rika. Rika is amazing, by the way, has a good inheritable as well. We have the Cubimon, can pick up your plugins, good inheritable. Tamon can play Rika for free, again good inheritable. And then Sakura herself, I think it's a pretty strong Digimon. You get to unsuspended Digimon, which is always good no matter what, especially in a deck that gets Secure Attack +1. Then you get to return plugins based on how many tamers you have, and if you have 2 or 3 tamers, this is worth a lot. On top of that, she has a your turn effect that's not once per turn whenever you're playing options that cost 2 or more. So I think Sakuyamon is a really solid Digimon. Alternate is fantastic, by the way. Now that being said, if you guys played Sakuyamon in EX2 or you try to play it, I have my deck profile. I recommend it, go check it out. Like, it's fun, but it just was not good enough. Like, nowhere near good enough. The reality is that our first line is scuffed and unplayable, and the second line is just one line of support, and it wasn't enough to make the deck actually work and actually function. It's fringe playable, just felt like it was missing so much. It just wasn't there, especially against the power of the other meta decks. I'm not saying that Sakuyamon had to be a tier 1 deck, but it couldn't even function as a tier 2 deck, and that made me kind of sad. So EX2, we tried it, it was fun, it didn't work out. Now going into BT10, there is a whole new line of Renamon support, and we have Maiden Mode. So I'm going to talk about the Maiden Mode first, because Maiden Mode is a very powerful card, and you'll see a lot of decks try to utilize her in various ways, like Secure Control or Tamer decks, or just any sort of deck in general. Like maybe the 4 Great Dragons in the future will play this, just because Sakuya Maiden or Maiden Mode, like the original one, it's just a good standalone card that any deck could run. That said though, the Maiden Mode is made to run with the Sakuya deck. She has extra synergy as she could Digivolve into Sakuya, you can Digivolve Sakuya into her, then go back and forward, mode change. It's very cool, and I feel like this is very clearly a good card. So my question is, like, we know Maiden Mode is a good card and it's going to exist in the meta and other decks, but now with a second line of support and new plugins, can a Sakuya deck exist in the BT10 meta? And again, I'm not saying this has to be like a tier 1 deck that's going to like win worlds or anything, but like, could a Sakuyamon deck like exist and be playable and be fun and like be winnable? So I don't know, I asked you guys this. I think the new line is pretty good, and I hope that it gets there, because I love this line. I love Tamon, it's one of my favorite Digimons, but it just wasn't there in X2. So let's take a look at the new cards we have in BT10. So a Renamon deck is going to unplay, search for plugins and yellow tamers. That's kind of nice. And then the inheritable is key here, because it's like the old ones where when you play an option, you're going to get -2,000 DP. And the previous Renamon didn't have this. It had another also good inheritable. But ideally, now you can have a stack that has this inheritable 3 times. So if you are the big Sakuyamon and you play an option, you're essentially getting -3 from her effect for a plugin, and then -6 from the full line, if you have the full line, right? So -9,000 DP is enough to clear any level 5, which is pretty powerful. And it puts you at a threshold where if you play another plugin with Sakuya on the board, you do another -3 for a total of -12,000, which is now able to clear any level 6, or most level 6s, we'll say, right? So essentially that extra 2k DP makes a huge difference. as now you'll be able to clear those 6s, and that's the thing that we struggled with in the past, right? So like that's already a pretty good addition, I think. Now the Sakuyamon is kind of nice. It can recycle plugins from your trash to your hand, or you can trash a plugin to draw 2. So it kind of works both ways with the plugins. Like if you have too many plugins, which is an issue, it happens all the time. Now you could pitch 1 and draw 2, and then Sakuya could recycle the plugin from the trash anyway, right? So it kind of works out. Or if you need a plugin, but you don't have the Sakuya to pick them back up, you can use the Sakuyamon to do so. Also, the fact that these are all named, you know, Renamon, Sakuyamon, Townmon, Sakuyamon, matters a lot for the recon, all the searches and all that. So it seems like a pretty good Digimon. Now the new Townmon is pretty cool. It doesn't have an inheritable, but it lets you play a plugin for free. So the old Townmon lets you play Rika for free, and if you have Rika, you can play a plugin for free. But now you can Digimon into Townmon, this one, and play a plugin for free. So essentially, imagine a world where you're set at 3 memory and you have a champion in the back, right? You can promote the champion, go into the Townmon, play the plugin for free, Digivolve into the Sakuya, take the plugin back. Now you have Rika on the board. You can swing with the Sakuya, tap the Rika, play another plugin, for example, right? And now that we have new plugins, what you're doing with these plugins is a bit better, and it's more dynamic. You can do different things, right? And again, just the fact that it's another Townmon, it's 8K, good effect, just seems solid. Like the old Townmon's probably still a little bit better, but it's nice to have another one. Now the main mode is super sick, so when you Digivolve into her, you can use that plugin or a yellow option that costs 5 or less. It's important because there's other good stuff you can do with it, like Sunrise Buster is busted with this. So you play the plugin or the option for free, which is strong already, and then after that, instead of the option doesn't go through trash, it goes to the top of your security stack. So essentially it lets you recover 1, and you're guaranteeing that your security has a very strong option, which is kind of nice. Beyond that, after you've already done that, when Sakuya made mode attacks, you can pay 1 memory to Digivolve into Sakuya. So essentially, she also Digivolves from those 6s, spending 2. So you could have a Sakuya, Digivolve into maid mode, get the free plugin, attack, Digivolve back into this if you had it in hand, for example, right? The main focus here is that it's very flexible, and no matter which level 6, which Sakuya you have, you should be in a good spot, right? Now we have the classic plugins, you know, Secure Attack +1, jamming, cheap devolution, like these are all pretty good, you know, not bad at all. But now we have 2 new plugins. So the defense plugin is kind of a spicy one. It costs 5, but you're never going to be paying 5 for this. You're either casting this for free with the Townmon or the Rika or of the maid mode, right? So it gives you blocker and reboot, and gives you protection from being delayed by opponent effects until the end of your opponent's turn. Which is kind of good, you know, this is something that the Sakura deck did not have at all. We didn't really have any defensive tools whatsoever, so it's nice to have this. It's something that we didn't have, so now having the option to do that is good. You can, for example, play one of these in your deck, and once you see it and it's in your trash, you can recycle it over and over if you need to, which is nice. On security, it has a cool effect where you can reveal 3 cards, and then play a Digimon play costs 4 or less, which is enough to play the Renamons, and then it goes to your hand, which is pretty cool. And we also now have a white or upgrade plugin. This one is not as exciting, it just gives you DP. It does give you DP until the end of your opponent's turn, so combined with the defense plugin, it can be very nice because you can have a like 14,000k blocker with reboot, which is pretty solid. And then the security, it gives you a memory, and then it goes to your hand, so it's like a mini hammer spark. So again, you know, you can go into maid mode, play these, guarantee you're gonna get the security effect, which is gonna go back to your hand anyway and give you additional effect. So now we have 5 plugins, a bunch of utility in what you can do with them, and although the first line is still unplayable, we now have 2 pretty solid lines for Sakuya. So my question is this enough for Sakuya to be a playable deck in BT10? I hope so, because I really do like Sakuyamon. And as soon as we get BT10, this is going to be one of the main decks that I want to try and play and make work. And I don't know exactly what my build is going to look like yet, but if you guys have any ideas or suggestions, like what cool 5 cost options we could play with Sakuya maid mode, for example, definitely let me know. I'm going through trying it out, and I'll be sure to record some good gameplay for you guys. Anyway, trying out something different, you know, talking about decks that are coming up, like we did with Mirage Gagumon. I hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching.